My name is Randy Spillane, and I'm the founder of a company called Now You're Talking. We're a video editing, podcast editing, and publishing company for when you want to start talking with content, but you don't know what to say or where to begin. Today, what I'm thinking about, it stems from a few different things I've read or heard or learned, but it has to do largely with doing content, either whether it's a podcast, it could even be an audio only podcast, or it could be video. And it has to do with personality and what it means to bring personality to that podcast, even if it's only audio, or to bring personality to that video of yours. And one of the things that comes to mind here for me is there's, if you're watching this or listening to this, there is a podcast called Tim Ferriss Show, pretty popular podcast. And I remember there was an episode a while ago that Tim Ferriss was interviewing someone who was pretty big in the podcasting space. And what they were saying was the big thing about doing a podcast is however you show up on that microphone the first time is setting the persona for how you're to show up each and every successive time. And I kind of want to think about and build this out because I think there's a lot of truth in that, but I also think that the bigger challenge for the entrepreneur, the bigger challenge for the business owner, the business operator, the employee at a business who's trying to create content to grow their own brand and their business's brand. I think the bigger challenge is how do you get talking in a way that empowers you to not only get talking in the first place, but to continue talking. To have the expectation that the first time you get on the microphone or the first time you get on a video, that's going to be the voice that takes you to the 20, 30-year vision that you've crafted for yourself seems kind of unlikely. I'm of the belief that you can only do so much thinking where there's diminishing excuse me, there's diminishing returns to that thinking. So that's why even in these videos and content that I'm doing, I have this process where it's either I'm talking about something or I'm thinking about something. It allows me to bifurcate when I am curious about something or I'm not totally sure if I have a full grasp on it yet. Hey, this is what I'm thinking about. It gives me a lot of freedom, not only mentally, cognitively, emotionally, to be able to think about something, but to talk through it. Whereas with talking about, that's where I'm defaulting to things that, hey, I know this, I know this, I know this, and I can talk about this XYZ, ABC. So kind of along the lines of what I was talking about in this piece of content was me being of the belief that you can only think so much, and there's a lot of value in thinking. Um, but I think at a certain point, it pays dividends to start talking through that. And I think having these two different prompts, I've talked about it in past videos, and I see myself talking about this for a while because I think it's such a simple framework, but can create massive dividends if you commit to using this process. And like, for example, this video and this piece of content, if you're listening to it, is an example of, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. I didn't start off with, hey, I'm talking about this is how you record a podcast episode. This is how you get your next video edited. This is how you publish content more easily to social media platforms. Like, I'm not talking about that in this video. I in this video, I was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. And I started to talk through that, but live. And then this video is also going to be shared publicly. So I think it's now that I'm getting to the end of this video, I'm starting to think about there's probably some things I could talk about in a future video about kind of where this way of thinking stems from. There's a few different outlets, I believe, or sources that it stems from. But I'll leave you with this. And I think one of those sources is this idea of, it's pretty popular with software companies, is this idea of building in public. And I don't totally ascribe to this building in public theme unless you're willing to take 100% ownership of that approach. But to a degree, this is kind of an offshoot of that, because this content could be strictly private to me. Or let me take a step back. This content could be strictly in my head, never talked out loud, never written down, never vocalized at all. Or it could have been vocalized, recorded, shared, but then only private to me. And yeah, sometimes that might be useful, but I think there's a lot of value in making less of the content you create private and try to make as much of the content as you create public, because you will learn more by making it public than by always keeping it private. Now, I hope you enjoyed this episode. My name is Randy Spillane, and I look forward to talking with you in the next one.